Alright guys, so what we need to do is we're gonna go for object, so the storage topic here, and in the storage topic we have object storage and block storage. When we talk about object storage, so that is about uploading files and folders. So in after we create a bucket, it is just a folder where we can upload files, right? And yeah, create folders. And yes, in Google Cloud, in Oracle Cloud, and in AWS, the storage folder is called bucket. Only in Azure it is called blob and container, right? So that is one thing here. But then what is block storage? Normally, so block storage is it is a shared storage over the network, connected to virtual machines. It is used for high performance performance. It is used for high performance and lots of IOPS, input output data per second, right? IOPS, input output data per second, right? So what happens is that when you create a VM, so if so there's cloud and there's Oracle Cloud. Actually, yeah, it's everything in the cloud. I don't know why I created it at the right side. So suppose you create a virtual machine here, right? A VM, and you create a virtual machine, and then you create a block storage. Now, block storage is also in the cloud. So cloud, Oracle Cloud block storage. Now, it uses SAN storage related protocol called iSCSI protocol. You may have heard about iSCSI protocol. So let me get something about. So there's SAN first of all, which is storage area network, and I would suggest that you should go for you should really go for VMware course as well, where you will realize all these features will be clarified to you. Right now, VCP 7.0 course is going on at NetWest College on Saturdays at 3 to 7. Okay, so SAN storage network, what is that? The concept for SAN is pretty straightforward. Okay. So concept for SAN is pretty straightforward. That normally it's better to see it in pictures. So suppose you have HP SANs. What is storage area network? What is the purpose of that? To just share disks over the network. You see rows and rows and rows and rows of disks here. SAN solutions are normally very expensive, and you just obviously you would use it on premises. So suppose you have a SAN here and then suppose we go for HP server, and I'll grab this server here, and so you have servers, and those servers are normally having some applications. I mean, like it will have a hypervisor nowadays. Obviously, when you go to any company, so it has just hypervisors, and those hypervisor like VMware ESXi or Microsoft Hyper-V, these hypervisors will have this SAN connected to it. So from the SAN, there would be shared disk, or it is also called LUN, or logical unit number. So this same shared disk will be connected to one server. This same shared disk over the network will be, or LUN will be connected over to the second server, third, fourth, fifth, sixth. Suppose you have 200 servers, physical servers, one same disk will be connected to all 200 servers. Second disk will be connected to all 200 servers. Third disk will be connected to all 200 servers. So but when you connect to it, either you use their iSCSI, and the other one is fiber optic. So right, so you would use fiber optic, and that would be very expensive. Obviously, then you need to have fiber optic switch, fiber optic network cards, and the fiber optic cables, and fiber optic connectivity is normally there in the SAN product, storage area network product, right? And Jintan says there are 3 bar storage. I have chunks and V volume, exactly. Yeah, yeah, that's cool. So if you go for iSCSI, it's going. You can still use SAN for that as well, but iSCSI is used with Ethernet. iSCSI offers you over the network shared disks or LUNs, but over the Ethernet network, not fiber optic network. So that's where iSCSI comes in. So iSCSI is obviously a cheap, where you can't afford to have fiber optic, the budgets are low, and it's too expensive. Fiber optic, they go for iSCSI SAN as well, which is Ethernet based, right? Mama says, I think AWS must be using the fiber option. Oh, definitely. AWS, Azure in their data centers, Google Cloud, they have spent billions of dollars. So the backbone must be fiber optic, because now they're supporting millions of clients across the planet. So they better have fiber optic, definitely, I'm sure, but I have to check it out, or whatever speeds they have reached already, 100 Gbps. So I'm sure it would be all fiber optic on their data centers, but that's pretty expensive. Okay, so we understand first of all that, okay, over the network, iSCSI connection can be made. In our VMware lab, when we create inside VMware Workstation 4 virtual machines, and we put ESXi hypervisors there, then we also create a iSCSI SAN as well, which is a software SAN, and then we connect the disks, the virtual disks, over the network to the hypervisors. So iSCSI SAN is cheaper, and it can use Ethernet, and you don't have to involve fiber optic, right? So that's what we need to understand here. So why are we talking about these on-premises technologies in the cloud? Because the block storage that you create, now you can create a block storage, and that block storage is just a shared disk over a network. First of all, we need to understand block storage offers shared disk over the network. And block storage offers the shared disks over the network. We can attach them to VMs, right? So a virtual machine, you want to attach disk locally, yes you can, but the block storage that they offer in Oracle, this is for very high performance. Very so you're suppose there's a virtual machine with Oracle database, and Oracle Cloud is not many companies will go there unless you have a Oracle database. If you don't have Oracle database, then the other three cloud are the best choice for you. I did add Oracle Cloud because we wanted to compare, but now I think that I should have added something useful like Office 365, some course of that, maybe Microsoft Teams, SharePoint or something. I was thinking, why did I had to add Oracle Cloud? Is after going through AWS, Azure, and Google Cloud, it pretty much looks like a very useless thing, but obviously it's there and it's gaining market because a huge amount of companies have Oracle databases for decades, right? Oh. So since we started it, and I just wanted to go ahead and finish it because I truly have no time to go for labs, and I don't find any labs there. I mean, it would be irresistible for me to go for a big lab. Like, I won't be able to resist, and I would jump into it, but I don't find any here. Like, if you are the DBA, you're an Oracle database expert, then you come here. Otherwise, no need to come here to this cloud. So, but what are the features of storage, compute, network? We're still checking those, and they are not much as well. I mean, they need to still add a lot of features there. They need a lot of improvement. So it's kind of not a maybe today's the second last class, and next class we cover network, and pretty much that's all there is to it, to an Oracle Cloud. But okay, so soon I'll be trying to launch Office 365 critical applications. There's and Azure. I think Architect. That would be a very killing combination, I would say, because so many others have found jobs with Azure plus Office 365. So yeah. Anyway, well, we're talking about Oracle database. So suppose you put an Oracle database here. Yeah, Intune is better. Intune is very tough. I'm facing that right now in that contract, and it's much tougher than I thought, and that's why I can't wait to launch Intune course separately. This is just finishing, right? The 4-in-1 started in June, and it's been 7 months now. So this is the one course in my life that got really outstretched and out of control. So I'll go for just one Intune course once all my labs are ready, because that's it. That's really tough. Okay, anyway, so it is SCCM in cloud, and it becomes much more challenging to do that in cloud. I mean, I have to go through all this now, and that's going to be a good experience. So that's why the course that I will create would be in-depth labs. It's pretty much SCCM, but it's not as complicated as SCCM. I taught SCCM as well. So Intune is in today's need. If you join any company, and majority of the companies have Office 365, then you will face Intune to handle all the devices.
Yeah, but they are not paying much.
Yeah, I mean, so okay. If I go down here,
Yep.
yeah, okay. So we were talking about Oracle database. So suppose you have Oracle database here, and there's a disk here as well. That on top of that local disk, you have installed an OS, and on top of that is Oracle database. Now this is for OS, right? The first disk would be for OS. Then you would want to add more disks here, right? But the thing is that those disks should be like performing well. I mean, IOPS should be very, very good. So then Oracle, because Oracle deals with databases, that's its specialty. So actually Oracle bought one, yeah, Oracle bought Red Hat, I think. So they have that Red Hat product now as well, but databases is what they are famous for. The Oracle says that, hey, you want to add more disks, why don't you just create separate block storage and then connect it to your machine. So from here, block storage are disks with very high performance. You create one disk, you map it to the OS, you create a second disk, you map it, you create a third disk, you map it, right? So that's how block storage works. While when we go for that object storage is just like you went for in AWS. There is S3 buckets, and in Azure there was a blob storage account, blob, and containers, and Google Cloud again bucket, and now Oracle Cloud also bucket. So that's just a folder to upload files and folders and maintain files and folders. So they have talked about storage in terms of block storage, object-based storage, and then also file storage. And file storage is a shared folder that they have offered. Object storage. Wow, object storage, and then block storage we just talked about, and then there is file storage as well that they offer in the storage. So object storage again, files and folders, and block storage. This is iSCSI based iSCSI disks mapped over the network to VMs. So that is their block storage, which is interesting actually. For databases, you need very high performing disks. And then there is file storage, which is a shared folder offered to VMs. Now this lab we did in Azure, where we created a file share, and the file share was actually created inside the storage account, and then we mapped that file share to a virtual machine, Windows virtual machine, and it appeared as a exact file share. So here I think they're just offering NFS based. They should be offering SMB. SMB server message block is for Windows, and NFS network file system for Linux machines, right? So a shared folder offers to VMs, right? So that's file storage service that they're offering. So the three types of storage services they're offering: object storage, block storage, and file storage. Now let's go back to then these services. Oh, that's strange what you said, that 3 years of experience in just that Intune is required. So this means it would be a big company, huge company. So okay, and I'll just put that here now.
Now in the market right now, a lot of companies they are migrating, so they require somebody expert, and they lead the role basically.
Yes, it's like really, it's not very careful. I mean, we can wipe the device remotely, accidentally as well. There are so many things there that needs to be properly done. So
Yeah.
definitely, their old data will be.
Sometimes, like architect is easier. Like as your architect, admin architect is easier than like Office 365 and Intune and all these other.
If it's easy, then somebody would have already taken it. If it's difficult, that's why there's a requirement in the market.
Yeah. No, I'm just saying like it is only two staff, like Azure, architect and admin. That's it. forget about 365 in tune and other stuff. Here they are asking too much, not paying much.
Yeah.
Architects, we are getting also better pay.
Yeah.
Better go with that then instead of going this.
Exactly. No, it's okay to get in the market and then keep giving interviews, and when you get a
Yeah.
better job, okay, switch to that. So
Yeah, that's true.
yeah, so many are doing this, that they are just in the market with whatever they are paying, and then keep giving interviews while you're getting income. Well, so okay, so their object storage, yeah, and I'm gonna go for, so this is the diagram that we copied. Now I'm just going to switch to this Oracle, and so that's the documentation. I'll go ahead to the Oracle Cloud, and there we were. So once we log in from Cloud and with Ashburn data center here, so a region, Ashburn region, that is. So then we're gonna go for this navigation menu, and from there, so we went for compute, and we talked about all this. Then there is block storage, object storage, file storage, and networking. So I'm trying to cover these, and then networking will be left. So hopefully we'll be able to do that by next Friday. So block storage, we talked about this. Block volumes, block volume backups, volume groups, volume group backups, backup policies. So pretty much you want to back up a block volume on top of which there is so this is, suppose you create a block volume and you map it to the instance, you attach it to the instance. You would be putting huge amount of data on that instance, from that instance application to the block storage. Block storage is supposed to run it's supposed to offer a huge performance. So you would be putting critical data there, obviously. So that's why backup of the block storage would be also very, very important. So if we go back to the interface or console here, so there's a block storage, now object storage, and data transfer, import, data transfer, export. This is easier, and then the file storage, which is file systems and mount target. So this means that, again, some Linux skills needed to mount a file system. You can create one folder as a shared folder, then you go inside Linux machine, and then you just need to know the command of mount, how to mount that shared folder inside a Linux machine if it does not allow for Windows. So first of all, there's a block storage. I'm just going to go to the block volume. So I'll just click on top of this block storage, and this block storage, so block volumes in this compartment here. This is the top compartment where you can add resources. Block volumes provide high performance network storage. So it's, first of all, it's a network storage. So it's not a local disk of a virtual machine. It's a disk coming from over the network and attaching to a virtual machine. So block volumes provide high performance network storage to support a broad range of IO intensive input output, read and write, sir, range of IO intensive workloads. So we understand that, okay, it's input output intensive. I'm just going to click that learn more as well, and it says it gets started with block volumes. So block storage cloning, real-time elastic performance and cost configuration, volume groups. So block volumes provide high performance persistent cloud storage for a wide range of application workloads. Block volumes can scale to 1 petabyte per compute instance. So for one virtual machine, you can attach 1 petabyte capacity of block storages and block volumes, we can say, and they are all performing very high for whichever application you have deployed there. Typical workloads include NoSQL databases, Hadoop, HDFS applications, Internet of Things, IoT, and e-commerce applications. Behind all those applications will be their own Oracle databases, right? And databases always require high performing storage. So that's what they are offering. And features are built-in security and protection, robust data protection, boot volumes, and easy to scale up or down. So you can add or remove, attach a volume. Everything is there. So there's a create an always free instance and attach a block volume. So there's a tutorial for that as well. That they're just telling everything there. So you learn the basic features of Oracle Cloud Infrastructure, OCI, by performing some guided steps to launch and connect to an instance. After your instance is up and running, you can optionally create and attach a block volume to your instance. So create a cloud network and subnet that enables internet access, launch an instance, connect to the instance, and add and attach a block volume. So this is pretty much the task flow to launch an instance, create a key pair, choose a compartment for your resources, create a cloud network. Oh, okay. So prepare, launch, and connect. Connect your instance. So launch and connect. So that is enhance storage and clear. Add a block volume. Optional, clean up your. So if I click launch an instance, yeah. Did they give an example of a Windows or did they give an example of Linux? Okay. Connecting to your instance is this. I just wanted to get to the main stuff, and that is, okay, they're connecting from OpenSSH client or PuTTY, which is for Linux. Oh, actually, they show you to connect to a Linux instance from a Windows system. Then OpenSSH client we have to install, and they're not saying that how to map it to the actual Windows machine from a Windows system, but it's going to be still Linux machine, launching a Linux instance. So there. Okay, if I go back here, so first of all we can create a block volume here, and okay, there is one already, so I'll just I cannot terminate an attached volume. Okay, so it doesn't say detach. Ignore what I'm doing. I'll just quickly get rid of this one, or not actually. Okay, we'll do it later. So I'm going to go for create block volume here, and go for block volume. So 29 Jan 2021 block volume, and always free eligible. Okay, Ashburn, and this is fault domain 1. Volume size and performance is 50 GB. We'll keep it free, and IOPS is 3000 IOPS, 60 IOPS per GB, and 24 megabytes per second, 480 kilobits per second per GB throughput. So there, and then there's backup policies if you want to create a backup policy for that. You can also encrypt that volume, but remember one thing is that block volume is that you're providing a virtual machine a disk over the network. So it's not its virtual machine's local disk. So it's over the network. So, and then show tagging options. You can encrypt it, you can back it up, and that's it. And you can increase the size if you want later, and we gave the name. So not much here. So I'm going to click that, create block volume, and it's provisioning. So while it is provisioning, I'll just go to I'll just make it duplicate, and here I'll just try to go to the navigation menu, and I'll go to compute, and I'll go to instances. Okay, here you know what, I did create an instance which I'm terminating quickly. Hopefully it gets terminated terminating. So while it is terminating, I'm just going to go to another instance and I'll just go for create instance. So I'm creating an instance here, and root, and then configure placement and hardware. So placement and hardware is there, but I don't want that Oracle Linux. I'll just click the edit button on the top right. I'll go for the image, just like before in previous way back class. So I'll go for our favorite 2019 standard. Okay, data center. Although not much difference there, other than the huge applications can go on data center version. Select image, and once it is selected, so okay, then I'll change shape. Oh, required. Okay, so shape is actually the hardware, so I'll go for shape here, and a shape is a template that determines the number of CPUs, amount of memory, and other resources. Don't see shape you want. Always pre-eligible. Yeah, that's what we wanted. If we just select that, and there's a micro. Okay, can I select micro for that? Ah, seriously. Okay, they won't let me select. Oh, even the other ones, and I cannot select shape. Okay, this means if I go down, I can't. Bare metal compute instances gives you dedicated physical server. No way, we're not going bare metal. So it's
Shape series, yeah. You have to select Intel AMD.
Okay, and nothing. So compute shapes. I think I went for 2019. I'll go for data center. Maybe it's asking for a lot of RAM then. They did not put any Linux, any Windows machine as free tier eligible. So that's really bad. But I'll go for 2019 standard. It may not be a big difference, may or may not. Oh yeah, there's a shape for that already, or the hardware decided. Okay, so data center is big, so that's why they said okay. If I go there, down, that's it, pretty much, nothing else there. So virtual cloud is selected, subnet is selected, IPv4 policy, in transit encryption is there. Assign a public IPv4 address. Yeah, we're good. So I'm going to go down here and show advanced options, management, installation script. Nah, nothing here. Enabling monitoring, Oracle Cloud Agent, restore, networking, nothing much. Just public IP is already there, so we're good. Image, placement. So I'm going to just click create here for Windows 2019 standard machine. So it is provisioning. While it is provisioning, if I go back to the block, oh, still provisioning, serious? I'll refresh this. And so yeah, it's available, the block volume in Oracle. While I'll go for instance, it is still being deployed or being provisioned. So if the block volume itself is created, then we can check that. So if I go to the block volumes level, and it shows that was today's block volume, and the below one is actually not showing that it is attached, although I attached it to a virtual machine, but that virtual machine is gone actually. So I'll just simply get rid of it now, and you can ignore that, terminate. So it was attached to a virtual machine, which is gone as well. So that's why it's available to be deleted now. So this block that we created here, there are 3 dots here, and what we can do is create a clone of that block volume, take a manual backup, encrypt it, move resource, copy OCID, Oracle client ID, Oracle Cloud, not client, view tags, add tags, terminate. So pretty much straightforward features here. If I go inside the block now, then there, if I go down, so there are metrics first of all, then there are attached instances. So did you attach the main purpose of a block is to attach to an instance, right? And block volume, the main purpose of block volume. So it's an over the network instance, and so I'm just gonna check out on the other tab if the instance got created. So it's still being provisioned, and refresh. Okay, it's running now. There's that public IP address, so I'll try to connect to this public IP address, and what was the, so this is the FQDN and public IP address and the username password for the administrator account. Okay, so I'll try to connect to it now. I got this public IP here copied. I'll go down here, type MSDSC, enter it, and then we go for the public IP, connect. And now during the creation we did not define a administrator account there, so initial password here, so it is, and the username is OPC, and the password, I'll click show here and copy. Right, so okay, it says self-signed certificate, press yes. So it is initial password and copy. So the username was OPC and the password is already put there, so I'm putting the, oh man, it does not copy the password, seriously. Okay, I'll go down. So it's 10, then bracket, small d, capital H, small j, small q, capital M. Wow, that's a torture. 0A 6C. Okay. And the password must be changed. Please don't ask me to put the password again. Oh, thank God. No. And small abc, galaxy shape 123, dot shape 123, small abc, galaxy shape 123, dot shape 123. Now again. And I'll press yes that the machine should be discoverable, and then so while the machine is there, I just went inside. I'm just gonna minimize this, and so this is the machine that started. We're inside the machine as well. I'm gonna go back to the block here, and there inside the block it's 50 GB and there's metrics, but we are going for attached instances. If I click this attach instance and then attach to instance, so it says that how do you want to connect to this instance, and there's a help here as well, right? So there's iSCSI and there's para virtualized. So Paranormal Activity. That was a horror movie. Okay, anyway, so attaching a volume, you can attach a volume to an instance in order to expand the available storage on the instance. If you specify iSCSI as the volume attachment type, you must also connect and mount the volume from the instance for the volume to be usable. For more information, see volume attachment types and connecting to a volume. So you can attach volumes to more than one instance at a time. See attaching a volume to multiple. So that's how the SAN also works. That, as I was saying before, that one volume, so this is one disk here, right? This one volume can be attached to this one and this one, same disk. Why? Because when you're connecting through this server to this disk and you save some data here, right? And this is a disk that is actually here and just mapped over the network, and this is the same exact disk mapped here as well. These are not two disks, this is just one disk. In fact, I'll just make it like that. It's the same disk that is mapped here, and it's the same disk that is mapped here as well. So if the users are connecting and they are putting data here, and all of a sudden the server goes down, then the users can be connected from this server, and through this server they can still access the exact same disk with the exact same data they were accessing without losing any connectivity, plus there's no downtime there. So the thing is that you can attach a volume to multiple virtual machines or servers as well. So that's what they're saying. Redundancy, load balance, exactly. So if we see that, so you can attach volumes to more than one instance at a time to prevent data corruption from uncontrolled read-write operations with multiple instance volume attachments. You must install and configure a clustered file system before you can use the volume. So then it goes ahead and you need to go for, you should not attach Linux volumes to Linux instances. Oh, did I say not? You should only attach Linux volumes to Linux instances and Windows volumes to Windows instances. Ooh. Okay, so we did not or make sure that our volume is a Linux volume or a Windows volume, right? So we need to make sure about that as well. Exactly, because the file systems are different. So we need to make sure about that too. So okay, what I'm doing is just setting up my table. Okay. Yeah, so if I go back here, so here it says iSCSI and para virtualized, so that's why I came here in the first place. And I'll go for iSCSI. We have already talked about para virtualized. So iSCSI, using the console, select the volume attachment type, iSCSI para virtualized, or let OracleCloud choose the best attachment type. They talk about that, para virtualized. For para virtualized volume attachments on virtual machine instances, you can optionally encrypt data that is transferred between the instance and the block volume service storage servers. To do this, well, actually, they still talk about para virtualized, but they don't say that what it is used for. Okay, so there's that explanation here. Para virtualized attachments are an option when attaching volumes to the following types of VM instances. For VM instances launched from Oracle provided images, you can select this option for Linux based images published into December 2017 or later, and Windows images published in February 2018 or later. So for VM instances launched from custom images, the volume attachment type is based on the volume attachment type from the VM. After you attach a volume using the para virtualized attachment type, it is ready to use and you do not need to run any additional commands. However, because of the overhead of virtualization, this reduces the maximum IOPS. So it's going to give a bit lesser speed there, and IOPS performance for larger block volumes. For larger volumes, it's going to give a bit lesser speed, but its para-virtualized would just be that they're not directly being used as a physical volume, while the block volumes would be an underlying physical volume, more access to the underlying physical volume there, while para-virtualized would be a virtualization layer on top of physical volumes, their physical storage there, and you get a bit less performance there. But it's cheaper in block volume. That is iSCSI. It's not only giving performance but also over the network, so obviously that would be a bit more expensive. So then access type is read-write, read-write shareable, read-only shareable. So read-write configure. So what we're doing is we created a block volume, we created an instance, and we're creating the block volume to an instance, and we're choosing iSCSI. Second thing is read-write configures the volume attachment as read-write not shareable with other instances. This enables attachment to a single instance only and is the default configuration. Read-write shareable configures the volume attachment as read-write shareable with other instances as well. So multiple instances you want to connect for redundancy, for failing over as well. This enables read-write attachments to multiple instances. To prevent data corruption, you must configure a clustered file system on the volume and then read only. So multiple instances is the best choice here. Configures the volume attachment as read only. This enables attachment to multiple instances. So you can connect in these two options multiple instances this volume, but they will be one is read write and one is read only. So select instance, and if we click that, it just puts up that instance which is there, and it detects it as Windows Server 2019 standard. That is correct. So we selected iSCSI, read-write to one instance only, and that's it. So required CHAP credentials, challenge handshake, authentication protocol, that's an extra authentication, but we already logged in from username password, so we're good. We don't have to select that. And I'm gonna click and attach. Once the volume is attached, run the block volumes iSCSI commands. To view these commands, locate the instance in the list of attached instances for a volume. Then click iSCSI commands and information in the actions menu. So I'm just going to click that, learn more here as well. And you can attach a volume to an instance in order to expand the available storage on the instance. If you specify iSCSI as the volume attachment type, you must also connect and mount the volume from the instance for the volume to be usable. So volume attachment types and then connecting to a volume. So they're just saying that, hey, when you attach it, then you need to connect to it as well. For volumes attached with para-virtualized as the volume attachment type, you do not need to perform any additional steps after attaching a volume. The volumes are connected automatically. Okay. However, for Linux-based images, if you want to mount these volumes on instance boot, you need to perform additional configuration steps. Okay, for volumes attached with iSCSI, that's what we did, right? As the volume attachment type, you need to connect and mount the volume from the instance for the volume to be usable. For more information about attachment type, so this, in order to connect the volume, you must first attach the volume to the, which we did. But normally what happens is, how do you attach an iSCSI instance? If I go inside the instance here, so I'm inside this Oracle instance, Windows instance, and if I go inside here and go to Server Manager, normally we do that in VMware course as well. So there, if I go to Tools, and then there's iSCSI Initiator. So in SAN storage, even iSCSI SAN storage or fiber optic, so you have a target and then iSCSI Initiator. There are two terminologies there. So if I go back to the diagram, normally the terminologies are that there is target and there is iSCSI Initiator. So what are those? So target offers the storage. iSCSI initiator, okay. iSCSI initiator requests the storage. So when we see in this diagram, so this is the target that is actually offering. Target is supposed to be the destination, right? But here it's opposite. So target is the actual source, and the iSCSI initiators would be initiators are these guys, right? And so those who are requesting the disk, iSCSI initiators, and target is which offers the disk, right? So if we go here inside the Oracle Windows 2019 standard, so you see that there's an iSCSI initiator. So obviously the machine would need an iSCSI initiator, or a machine would request a connection to be made to that target, and target is offering the disk. So that block volume that we created is the target, and initiator is requesting connection to the target to connect to that volume 50 GB, right? If you start iSCSI initiator, it normally asks that, hey, what's the IP? Where is the target? What is the address of the target, right? And then quick connect happens, right? So, but we have connected the attached the instance already. I'm gonna select this. In fact, I'm gonna go here to computer management. Why? I need to go to disk management just to check that. Yeah, we attach the disk to the target, but does it show in the disk management? Because it's a 50 GB drive, right? So if I go to disk management, if there was any extra disk attached here or was detected here, iSCSI normally has to be requested with this iSCSI initiator, the one that I already showed here. When it's iSCSI, then iSCSI initiator has to be involved. Normally, that's how it works. But I just went there and checked that, hey, was there any extra disk added when we attached the iSCSI initiator or not, right? So if I go back to this block volume, attached to instance, now it just says, so below it's saying attaching. By now it should have been attached. Close. Oh, it's still attaching, that's one. I'll refresh that. Oh, it's attached. Okay. And once it is attached as an iSCSI volume, so if I go to the three dots here just to check that what's going on here, iSCSI commands and information, this is what was written in the documentation, that you could just go there and run some iSCSI commands. Otherwise, I would want to go for view instance details, right? So when I go to view instance details, I just want to check that what are the instance details here. So the instance that it connected to, we already know the details of that. It is just showing that instance. It just took me there. And so on the instance, if I go to attached, now we're on the instance side, right? This is the instances console. So there we see attached block volumes. If I click that, so then it says that, okay, this is attached block volume, which is 50 GB, and it is available for you. So I'm gonna still go inside the attached block volume, and so there's Oracle managed key, there is data performance, default performance, that is, and backup related information. If I go down further, there are metrics there, and to this block volume what instances are attached. So now availability domain is this, compartment is this, Oracle Cloud ID is this, credit, RTune, configure. Okay, so that's all. This is the information that is only available there. since it is attached, and I will go back to the instance. Now those commands that we needed to give, so obviously we still need to give those, but let me just go to that one more time just to make sure that it does not automatically appear here. Normally it's not supposed to be if it is iSCSI. I'm still visiting disk management, so there is no extra. Disk 0 is the default one that got created with the instance, with the virtual machine, but there is no extra disk showing here. So I'll close that, and if I go back here, so I'm going to that attaching a volume, which we actually did, and attaching volume to multiple instances, yeah, and volume attachment types. Then it goes down to IAM policy using the console. Yeah, we did that. And tip: you must select a device path when you attach a volume from the console. It is not optional. Yeah, and so now there would be those commands that we need to give for the to attach a instance. Yeah, we did that already. Software deployment kits. Now the main thing is that how do we make it available inside the operating system, right? So connecting to a volume, we're still checking that, and this is, I think, not going to show, and I tried to search before as well, that connecting to iSCSI-attached volumes. For the Windows, it's showing for Linux, but it's not. Yeah, this is what I was also mentioning. iSCSI IP address, iSCSI port numbers, and CHAP credentials, and IQN. So this is normally, oh, there you go. So connecting to a volume on a Windows instance. When connecting to a Windows boot volume as a data volume from a second instance, you need to append. Okay, we're not doing a boot volume. Use the console to obtain the iSCSI data. You need to connect the volume. So log into the Oracle Cloud infrastructure. Go to undercore infrastructure, compute, instances. Yeah, we're there already. Resources and instance details. Click attached block volume. Yeah, we were there. Actions, 3 dots, next, and then click iSCSI. Yes. So iSCSI commands and information. They still want us to go there. So where are those? So we're already in the block volume, and if we go to this, okay, I'll go from the attached instances. So this is the instance we're attached to, and we're exactly on that page. So instance details, click attach block volumes to view the attached block volume. Yeah, so first we need to go to instance, and then, so we're inside the instance now, right? And there is attached block volume. So this is a block volume, and that's where iSCSI commands and information. So I'm going to click that iSCSI commands and information, and use OS tools to log in and enable iSCSI targets to this volume. Failure to run commands will cause instance boot failure. So this is the information that, yes, volume, IQN, and IP address and port, and then there's follow the instructions for disconnecting from a volume located in there. But basically it is giving that iSCSI information that was needed by the iSCSI tool that I showed you within the Windows, right? So iSCSI commands, we can use volume IQN to connect. So I'm going to copy this. See this IQN. Now this is the block volume side, the target side, and target is saying, or the block volume is saying, hey, Windows virtual machine, you can connect to my this address, and I'm copying from the block volume this address, so I could connect the Windows, which is a iSCSI initiator, a requester of disk. I'm going to go there and I'm going to tell it, okay, this is the IQN number. So I'm going to the Windows, and I'm going to tools, and there's that iSCSI initiator, and so iSCSI initiator, there's a target that they are looking for. If I go for Control V and type the whole IQN, which is actually a storage, storage address, so that also works. Well, here I have to still check. If I click Quick Connect, no such host is known, so it does not detect that there is a host that it can access from here. I'm just gonna minimize that again. There is that iSCSI target. So these are the commands actually, right? And we can just give those commands. See this iSCSI CLI.exe, and then the whole command is there, right? Follow the instructions for disconnecting. Yeah, we need to first connect.
There is a IP address. What is that?
Yeah, this is without DHCP is showing 169,
Yeah.
which is why I'm not really touching it right now. But though this is the IP address of this block storage here. Commands for connecting. So set service, automatic. I think this is the whole set of commands that I need to put there. So I'm just gonna go here. Before that, I'll just go down here, and it says here, log into your instance. Yeah, we're there. See, they're saying enable iSCSI initiator. Yes, we did that. iSCSI initiator properties. Yes, and click the discovery tab. So they're saying that don't go to that directly where I was. Go to the iSCSI initiator, then go to properties, and then go to discovery tab, and then click discover portal. So, and click the enter the block volume, IP address, and port. Okay, so they have a unique way to connect. I'll show you here. Discovery is this, and in fact, oh, it got it. So what I put there, it got it. So discover portal is this, and in the discover portal, it's asking for an IP address, which is this strange IP address. Like 169.254 is not actually an IP address. So the port is 3260, yes. 254.22. So this is it. Very strange. I don't know why I'm even giving that. It's mentioned here. It got added. Okay, that's one step. Then I'll go to the documentation again and into the block, and then click OK. Click the targets tab. Under discover targets, select the volume IQN and connect. Okay. Click the targets tab. Targets did. Oh, okay. This is the IQN that got added, and there's a connect button. So once we click connect, add this connection to the list of favorites target. Multipath. I'm just gonna press OK. Oh, it works. Okay. So if it says connected, then that's a very, 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 very good news. And I can go.
Can you do me a favor? Can you go to IP address and remove and see that connect or not?
Remove. There are active sessions and persistent bindings to the removed target portal.
Oh, means it's connected somewhere.
So this. Okay. Refresh. So that IP is gone actually, but it's still connected. So when I put the IQN the first time, that's what it's connected to. And yeah,
can you disconnect and connect again?
Discovery portal. No, I had to go to the discovery portal because this was there. If I refresh, and I go, no, it's not appearing unless I give that 169 IP. So the IP actually is something that they're using. They are using a private range here, and they decided to use this.
Yeah, looks like internal IP something.
Yeah. So once it is there, then only it appears here, and then connect. Okay. and if it shows connected, then there's a volumes and devices. That's what I do actually in VMware class, and I click auto configure, and it shows one disk path over the network. Now when this appears, normally we can expect our new disk attached to this virtual machine, Windows machine. So I'm just gonna press, well, I haven't gone through that full article, but discover targets, connect, add this connection, list favorite targets. Yeah, but you know what? We got the disk. If not, then I'll come back for the rest. So I'm just press OK. After I went for volumes and devices. So what I'm expecting is one extra disk now. So there was disk 0, so I'm expecting disk 1 now here. Oh yeah, so there is disk 1 now, that is 50 GB. This is exactly what we attach. So this is the block volume, high performing block volume that we attach to our Windows virtual machine with the help of this iSCSI initiator. So I'll press OK, and then it's just usual new simple volume, next, finish. It is formatting now, and there are 2 disks now available. If I go to there, this PC, so yes, there's another 50 GB volume added here. So, and that's a block volume, that's a high performing volume now attached. And if you install a Oracle, suppose database or an application, so you would be giving the path of D drive for all the application files. So it's pretty cool service that they give you separate over the network. Now if this machine crashes, the actual critical data of application was never on C drive, right? It didn't go down with the machine. It's actually on block volume, which is also being backed up. So your data is safe. It is running in this machine. It is using this machine CPU and RAM, but it's actually not here. If this machine crashes, it was never there. The data was always in a mapped drive over the network. Okay, so that's pretty cool. And yeah, so yeah, and I have read-write access. Yeah, I can create a folder, so read-write access is there. Now this is done, and this table would help you to, although yeah, we just checked already that the video will just show you all the steps anyway, but this page, this link will give you the step-by-step as well. Okay, so I'll close this, but this IQN number is and the IP address both are, especially the IP address, if you follow that step by step. Yeah. Okay, so that's how block volume works. That's what we were doing. So block storage here, we went for block volumes, and block volume, we created a block volume, we attached the block volume to an instance, and then you have to go through those steps to really make it appear as a disk, usable disk inside the Windows. And then block volume backups. So yeah, you can just did you create any backups? Volume groups, do you have multiple volumes there? So if I click create volume group here, so and put it test, and so no backup policy here, and select volumes. So I have the volume that I created and another instance volume as well. So and then if I click plus volume, and then it's the volume of the instance actually, and we can group them together as well. So block volumes, it created a volume, but it's actually attached 2 volumes there, right? So size is actually 300 GB, 50 GB plus 250 GB of the other disk, right? So you can create a block group of volumes as well. Volume group backups, and then pretty straightforward volume group clones I'm going for, and create volume group clone, and volume group clone name, I go for test and create. So well, it's supposed to be a clone of or it's supposed to help clone whatever volume group we created there, right? Okay, 803. Ali says, I hope it will copy over there. We do not need to type. Oh, okay. I think that was the old one. Sorry, I didn't read that. Refresh and so a clone got created. If I go inside the clone, yeah, it's the same exact name there that is showing that I created there, block volume copy CID. So I created just a clone, and it just created a. It just took me inside the clone to that block volume that I created there, and it says cloned as well. Okay, if I go for block volumes here, overall, so it just still shows 1. So inside the clone area, you will get a copy of that block volume as well. Here in the block volumes, it just shows 1 block volume. Boot volume, that's the local disk of that virtual machine. And then volume backup, we did not create a backup. And clone volume group clones, so right now it does not show any clones here, but pretty straightforward that you can create backups there. And then oh yeah, it did create a clone. So I created a volume group, 1 volume group. Now there are 2 volume groups there, so the clone did get created, both of 300 GB. Okay, well, that's pretty much for the block storage. And if I go back here, block volumes, I don't need those block volumes now, so I'll just, I cannot terminate because they're connected to a virtual machine. So okay, if I go to the object storage, then object storage, and I go inside the object storage. So this is pretty straightforward, that bucket that we were creating. And so I'm just going to go ahead and well, this bucket was created, so I'll just delete that so we can see the process of the bucket created. Not empty, delete all objects first. Wow, okay. Yeah, I actually uploaded a random file inside my previously created bucket just to see that does it even work. So, and then I'm deleting the whole bucket. Are you kidding me? Active pre-authenticated requests still exist for the bucket. Delete them first. And okay, I'll take care of pre-authenticated. Serious. So I was just creating stuff there. Okay, did I do anything else? No. Okay. Now I'll delete this bucket. Okay, gone. So let's click create bucket here, and this is our bucket for today. It's a standard bucket or it's an archive bucket. You can so storage tier for a bucket can only be specified during creation. Once set, you cannot change the storage tier in which a bucket resides. So is it going to be standard bucket for day-to-day usage, upload and download files, or is it going to be an archive bucket? Suppose I click archive. So it's going to remain archive if once you create that. We're going to go for standard bucket, and then emit object events. So this is just when you enable emit object events, you can create automation based on state changes to objects using the events service. So what's going on here is, suppose a file is uploaded. As a result of that event called file uploaded, do you want to do something as an action? Do you want to automate something? Maybe you want to, a file is uploaded, so you want to send a notification by email that somebody uploaded a file, or you want, as soon as the file is uploaded, you want the file to be automatically made read-only, right? So you, in response to those events, what do you want to do? So that's what it is for. Versioning, obviously, versioning is it keeps different versions. We checked versioning with AWS, we checked versioning with Azure as well. Google Cloud versioning was enabled already. Here you have an option to enable versioning. And encrypt, yes, it's going to be encrypted with managed keys or customer managed keys. And then tagging, you want to go for department, sales, branch, Toronto, whatever you want to go for in that case. So pretty straightforward here as well. We're selecting standard and enabling versioning, and then click create. So it gets created as a either standard or archive bucket. Once we go inside the bucket, then I'll just go for a random file upload. I'll click the select files here, and downloads, okay, Teams application, upload. Oh, I think it's a bigger, oh, it's 100 MB. And click close. So there's a file there, upload it. And if I select that file, then there are more actions: refresh, restore, delete. And if I delete that now and delete objects, and then select that, so it's showing show deleted objects, right? So otherwise it is deleted, and you can just enable that to see those objects. And I would want to restore it now. So view objects, and status is it's 100 MB, delete marker is there, and if I select that, oh, they're not able to let me select that. View objects, view object version details, and yeah, I can download, copy, but I cannot restore. Are you kidding me? I'll refresh that. I click that show deleted object again, and view object details, and yeah, I cannot. So after some time, either it shows that, or name, version, ID, I selected it, and it normally it's supposed to show me that I could restore it, but I think it's gonna take some time. Then it shows that restore. There's a copy here, which is weird. So I can make a copy of a deleted object, copy object version, select the destination region, Ashburn, destination bucket. Oh man, really? So I can copy out of it instead of restore, really? Okay. So that's the bucket name. Go back here, paste, bucket name, okay. And override destination object, do not override destination object only if it matches the specified e tag. Copy object only if the source matches the specified e tag. So I'm going to click copy version, permissions granted to the object storage service principal object storage US Ashburn 1 to this bucket are insufficient. Okay, so what I'm trying to do here, the permissions are insufficient. So that is strange. I'm logged in from my root account that is supposed to have all the permissions, and so well, that's why it's not showing even that restore option, because I this bucket does not have enough permissions. If I go to object storage again, and move resource, edit visibility, add tags. If I click edit visibility, it's just private or public. No, I should still have permission even if it is private to do anything. High performance, durable, yeah. You can use 10 GB object storage archive. You are using approximately 13 KB, yeah. It does not say anything about permission here. So within the bucket, normally we're supposed to talk about what features are there. So I'll just zero versioned object. So versioning, we're not maintaining that, but I was not able to restore that, so I'm just gonna click upload again and select files, and I'll go for a smaller file, Azure Reconnect. Oh, it's also 96 MB, so it's not small. Okay, close. And yeah, latest version. So since versioning is enabled, so it's just showing that. And well, I did not delete it, so but the option of restore is still showing here. Now once the any object is added to the bucket here, then you can move that as well. Otherwise, these are on the left side are all the resources. So first is objects, then there are metrics for that: upload, download, what are the speeds and performances there, bucket size, and number of objects. Then comes pre-authenticated requests, and pre-authenticated is that you authenticate till what time for the access of this bucket. So February 6 expiration is written here, so we can just enable an authentication that until February 6 this object or file can be accessed. After that you will not be able to access that, so I'll just click that, create, and you can give this link to anyone who wants to access this object. When they connect through this link, then that expiration date will be implemented as long as they're connecting, and then on February 6th they won't be able to connect to this object from this URL. So any outsider, you can give this URL, and they will then have an expiration date. And then there's work requests. Normally if you have been doing some task that is ongoing, then the work request really shows here. Refresh here, so there's no ongoing task right now. Lifecycle policy rules are exactly those that we talked about. It's the same name as well. Lifecycle policy in storage in AWS, same lifecycle policy rule in storage in Azure and in Google Cloud as well. So that's the same here as well, that after some time you want to get rid of your data, you want to archive your data. So latest version of objects or previous versions of objects. So this is the latest version of objects, and after how many days you want that to be either moved to archive or deleted. So that's the lifecycle policy here. Pretty simple, and just either archive or delete. So while Azure and AWS showed more options there as well, AWS showed a lot more options. So that's just enabled, and either you can move or you can delete. So if one policy you can create that after 30 days archive, or after 60 days archive, and then another policy you can create after 190 days of object creation, delete, or after 7 years of object creation, delete it, right? So if I click create, then it will give you this red here as well. Permissions granted to the object storage service principal, object storage US Ashburn 1 to this bucket are insufficient. So permissions granted to the object storage service principal. Service principal is that account with which I'm logged in, which is the top account, but they're saying that your permissions are still not, oh, why did I put the password? Enough to do some of the tasks there. So that's pretty frustrating. That why would you do that? User settings. So yeah, I am logged in as an administrator. Do we need higher permissions than this? Which is none. Create password, multi-factor, edit user capabilities. If I click user capabilities, local password, okay, more actions, add tags. So I have the top permission here. Add user to a group. If I click the add user to a group, is there any other group higher than, okay, I'll add to the marketing group, which makes no sense. Like, so what if we're in the marketing group? But yeah, it's administrators, and that's the highest permission. And if I go, I'm in the users area now, dynamic groups, network, and the policies, compartments, federation, authentication settings. If I go to policies and create a policy here, test, and that's we can say bucket permissions. I'm just naming it like that. And then I'm going for policy use cases. Then I'm going for storage. Oh, I cannot write that. Network management, storage management. In storage management, if I go, let volume admins manage block volumes, backups, and volume groups. I was able to do that actually. So other than that, let users download objects, let users write objects to object storage buckets. Yeah. Let objects storage admins manage buckets and objects. Okay, that seems to be the one that we need. And which groups you want to assign that to? Administrators. Which location? Yes, this ID guy me root. So I've assigned myself that storage admin permission. So administrator. Then I'm trying to create that, but I think there's an error description. Create. Okay, so bucket permissions I gave to administrators, and then I'll go back to object storage, and then I'll go inside the bucket and lifecycle policy rules, create rule, latest version, move to archive in 30 days. Yeah, it's okay. Create. Okay, so storage admin, after even getting those permissions, I am maybe trying too soon, but the main purpose of lifecycle rule is that after how many days you want the object to be moved to archive, or after how many days automatically you want the object to be deleted. So that is what we are checking. So I'm just going to cancel out from here, and hopefully the permission would be implemented after some time or after some weeks. Then there's a replication policy, and if the permission issue is there, then that would be it may or may not implement here. But there's a destination region and there's a destination bucket as well. So that's a cross-region replication that is here as well. So this means that I can try to go up to the storage, object storage, and I'll create a bucket. This is in Ashburn region. If I try to go ahead and create a bucket in another region, so well, I then have to, I'll just go to the other tab, and I'll go to object storage here as well, and I'm going to change my region in the other tab, right? Manage regions, and in a free one I can only use this region. Subscribe your request for subscription to this region. After you subscribe your tenancy to this region, you cannot unsubscribe. Ooh, what? Okay. You have exceeded the maximum number of regions. Okay, so cross-region replication cannot be done. So I can explain in theory, which sucks. So I need 2 regions to show the cross-region replication. So we did that in AWS. We did that in Azure as well. And yeah, in Google Cloud. But here it's just 1 region we can have bucket. So it could be 2 buckets within the same region as well. So that is also something that we can do to just check that across 2 buckets can we pass the data. So second, I'll just put there and still create a bucket, and this could be actually archive bucket within the same region. The rest is all okay, and object versioning as well enabled, and create. So this is archive bucket, this is standard bucket, right? If I go to standard bucket now and go to replication policy, then create a policy. So replication policy, select the destination region, again Ashburn. Hopefully it lets me do that in the same region. Oh yeah, it does. So second is actually archive bucket. I should have written here archive, and the replication policy from a standard to archive, automatically the data goes to archive now, which could have been done by lifecycle policy as well. And even if now I create, it could give this error as well, that I don't have permission to do this, and it does. So the interface, as far as the interface, when you practice that on your side, and as far as the interface is, or as far as the purpose of this feature is concerned, so it's pretty straightforward. 2 buckets, and you want any new data that is any new file that is uploaded to the first bucket, you want that automatically be copied to the other bucket. That's what you achieve with the replication policy. And any new file that gets uploaded in one bucket gets copied to the other bucket as well. And in that case, are you archiving that file that you just uploaded? Now, archive is not meant for that purpose. Archive is when you want to when you have used the file enough time that you're not using any more of those files, and then you're really moving the files away from the regular to the archive. Then archive is used. This is not the purpose for archive, where you just upload the file and it just gets copied as well. Although it's kind of a backup scenario or strategy, and normally we don't use archive for that purpose. So it would be just another regular bucket that you would want this to be copied to. And another region, that would be a better option. Okay, so I'll click cancel here while my admin storage policies kick in. Till then, at least the purpose is pretty clear, because the interfaces don't have a lot of options here. The features don't have a lot of options. 1, 2, 3 options, that's it, finish. It's not like AWS and Azure where you have a long list of options there. And retention rules, so that's where the archive really works, that after 1 year you want to move it, which we were trying to achieve from lifecycle as well. So if I click create rule, so time bound or indefinite, so object modification is prevented for the retention during retention duration you specify. So this means modification, this is called lock policy in object lock in Azure and AWS both, and in Google Cloud I guess as well. Indefinite object modification is prevented until you delete the retention rule. So you retain the file for certain time, and during that retention period you cannot modify it, and once that time is up, then you can modify, or you can indefinitely retain the file, and during the retention period you cannot really modify that file unless it is deleted. So this is just kind of a lock you're putting there retention time amount 1 days or 1 years. For 1 year, if you just put that, so for 1 year you cannot modify it if you select this option, and after 1 year you will be able to modify. Or indefinite, there's no option there because it's just indefinite, you can just delete it, otherwise nobody's modifying it. So well, and this is rule lock. Okay, finally they are saying that it is a lock rule. Yeah, suppose I click enable, and then it goes for when a rule is locked, only an increase in the retention duration is allowed, and the rule can only be deleted by deleting the bucket. So schedule lock, you know what, I have a bad experience with enabling locks. Then whatever time it says after 14-15 days, then I am able to delete the bucket. So I'll just disable that lock, but we understand the purpose. You want to make the file read only for a specific time, or you want to make the file read only indefinitely. And if I click create here, yes, versioning should be enabled, that's what it's saying, which is enabled actually. But I think I'm on the wrong bucket. It's the archive bucket. No, it's not the archive bucket. Where the versioning is enabled. Okay, so this means that Oracle has to really work on their permission structure and also just increase more features in storage as well. Log files are supposed to have log files. So well, these are pretty straightforward features that we saw in the previous 3 clouds as well, cloud providers as well, and these are here as well now. In storage, if we go to bucket details and then object storage, and well, just then there's object import export as well, and import if we go there, so and create a transfer job, and transfer job name, upload bucket. Bucket is this, so you want to upload from a disk or from an appliance, right? I click the appliance and it shows then that what kind of appliance is there. Request data transfer appliance entitlement. So you have to get that appliance as well from these guys to import, or from a disk you want to import something. So then, and when you're importing from a disk, to which bucket you want to import. So that's what it's saying here. I'll click cancel and export. So data transfer appliance entitlement not requested. So well, it's you have to request from them that hey, I need an appliance where to which I want to export the data. An appliance would be that they would ship you that ruggedized machine that is highly encrypted and secure, and you can just export data there, and then you can ship it back to them and they can upload your terabytes and terabytes of data faster. So other than that, if we go to file storage, so there is that file storage or file system also mentioned here, and I did create a file system here that I'll delete. So file system, show details, cannot delete exported file system. Okay. And well, I'll just check. Oh, there's an export here. Delete. I'll just try to create that again. That's why I was just getting rid of all this. Alright, deleting. So I'll go for file systems here, deleted. So I'm going to go for, so file storage provides durable, scalable, secure, enterprise grade network file systems that you can connect to from any bare metal, virtual machine, or container instance in your virtual cloud VCN. So again, it's saying network file system, NFS. So if I click the learn more here, then it's supposed to tell you that Oracle Cloud Infrastructure File Storage Service provides the reliability and consistency of a traditional NFS. So when you're sharing files between Linux machines, you use NFS for that, right? And offers enterprise-grade file systems that can scale up in the cloud without any upfront provisioning. Start with a file system that contains only a few kilobytes of data and scale up to 8 exabytes. It goes up to exabytes, and availability and durability, data protection, built-in security, encryption, you have Vault. But what I was looking for was SMB because we have a Windows machine here, but it's actually for NFS Linux machines. It's a file system. Yes, so file storage is fully managed, network attached storage that offers high scalability. So it's network attached storage for high durability, high availability, and high security for securitability. No, that just came out. So if I go back here, and I'll go for create file system, and Oracle manage key, availability domain, file system. If I click the edit details here, that's it. So it's just a name here, and hide details. Then export information. Exports control which file systems are available to a given mount target. Create a new export to make your file system available through the selected mount target. So in Linux normally this is the shared folder type that you can put there, and you can mount from a Linux machine to this shared folder over the network, right? And mount target information. So you have to have a mount target information, then the shared folder information as well. This is purely Linux stuff. So if I click create here, so I have Windows machine there, and in Windows machine there's one thing that we actually still can do for Linux file systems as well, and that is if I go to dashboard, add roles and features, next, roles based and feature based, next, instance, next. It's actually not here. If I go to features, so client for NFS is actually already installed. That's what I was looking for. Client for NFS. There was another one, NFS. I think that was it, but I'm just looking for no other NFS related stuff. Yeah. So its client for NFS is already installed. So if I go to file and storage services and go to tasks, if client for NFS is installed already, if I go to volumes here, shares, in the shares there's task. Oh, new share is also okay. Start, add roles and features, and select a server. I just wanted to have that NFS file and iSCSI services, storage services there. Inside file and iSCSI services, there's a file server, there's a DFS, and server for NFS. Okay, that is something that I was looking for, server for NFS. I just want to make a connection from Windows machine to a Linux shared folder, right? Otherwise then it's long commands and check the flavor, Linux flavor, and then it works or not. That's gonna go long. If you have experience on connecting in Linux machine to a shared folder, then yeah, you can do this. But what we created there is just NFS. Okay. And close. and tasks, new share, and it says you can create Windows share, SMB shares, SMB or Windows, right? NFS is Linux. If I go for NFS quick share in Windows and next, then it says which drive you want to create that. Okay, D drive. If I click next, then it asks for share name and remote path to instance share. So what I'm counting on here is the name, share name, if that information is actually correct. So file system, mount target. So it can accept from anywhere, and OCID. So if I click mount target, subnet, VCN, and availability domain. Okay, then it goes to the file system, and I'm still there. So mount target and file system. So that's and you can see that this is where I am now. So this is how it is supposed to share name. I don't. So now this share name is showing here, and it fills up automatically here as well, right? If I click next, then it says Kerberos v5 authentication. Do you want that Kerberos v5? Kerberos v5 authentication is that it's kind of a ticketing authentication that works on a ticketing system, and it's considered as very secure. So I'll click next, and then the server evaluates the share permissions. So what are the permissions you want to give? Host level permissions, or any machine can connect to this, and you want to give read and write to anyone who connects to this shared folder from any machines over the network, and you want to allow all out access to anyone who connects from any other machine over the network. So it's like a party, right? Add, next, and yeah, full control, next, create, close. So go to shares overview, and yes, so there is a shared folder that got created successfully in this Windows machine. That's one thing, and new share, new format, extend volume, properties. Now if I go to the yellow folder here, it's still not showing. So that is the shared. So at least first thing is that we connected to that shared folder, right? Second thing, what we can do to install file server resource manager, start the roles. So you can just go for file services to be added there, and if I click that, and it just pops up again that, oh, you want to create a file services resource manager here. Next, install. So you're pretty much connecting that shared folder to a Windows machine, but you have to, it's a Linux shared folder that is meant for Linux, but we're just forcing it on Windows. It's not forcing. Windows supports Linux file share connectivity, so we're using that to connect the file share. And server administration tool, word administration, file services tools, file server resource manager tools. Basically, why I'm doing this, if we want to actually upload some kind of file there, there has to be a file services, file server resource manager. But will it work here? Is still, normally it works when we do connect a Windows machine to a Linux file share, but I'll refresh that. To set a quota, open the configure quota dialog box. So what kind of quota? Automatically create and apply quota for all users. So 10 GB limit, okay. And so task, configure quota. Then there are new share you want to create there, but that's again, we have gone through this already. So the file share gets created, but normally what happens is that it's supposed to appear there in configure quota, remove quota, properties. And it was created actually in the D drive, right? So if I go to this PC and go to D drive shares, yeah, there's the file share. And testings, whatever name, and Control C, Control V. Okay, so I'm creating that, a lot of folders here, just creating some data here within that, right? If I go down here, so file system, and well, it's gonna actually go back there, but I wanted to see that if the data starts showing there, and mount targets, because it does not really show like so if I go to state, it's active metrics. Okay, just want a little proof if it's willing to give me. No proof for now, but we have used that file share, and if I go up there to mount data, nope, file systems. So that's a file system. If I refresh that, any proof that I created, actually I created a very small amount of data, so it's still saying utilization is 0 byte. So when it comes to showing the performance of the file share, it's not really quickly showing something. But how to attach, we saw that, and how to attach on a Windows machine, that's we've gone actually too far and attached it and created some very less amount of data that may not appear real soon to show that it actually was saved here. So back to file storage, and still it's 0 bytes for now, but so well, it's normally going to work on Linux, but I just tried to forcefully make it work on Windows machine. So that's something that we need to see in Linux machine, but for my side, this would be the lab for file systems, that at least this is how you create and connect it to Windows and create quotas there, and then put some data there. Okay, is there a map option in tasks in Windows, Clinton?
That is for old message, like actually you got it, like go to the D drive and get the folder. So I was asking, like, you can find it map over there or not, because you cannot find on D drive. That time I just sent the message.
Oh, okay.
You did, right? Yeah.
And yeah, so in the shares normally it's supposed to be there. The other one
I was asking, like, on the task there is any map folder or something where to map manually. No, not that task. On shares, like, go minimize that window.
Oh, okay, these tasks.
Yeah, over there.
And there's manage drive letter and access path, scan file systems.
So maybe manage drive data and access path might be there. You can.
It's going to just map it to wherever we want to map.
Okay. Yeah, got it.
Select folder. Well, we already had a share where we were able to create
Yeah, yeah, you got it from D, so yeah, I'm not required that.
Well, yeah, this much is what we can do, but it's purely for Linux. It's not basically for Windows, or if it's like that, then yeah, you can just try to explore more that how else we can see that what's the proof that the data is actually there. But if you can, we can create it here, then I mean, like in the folder, the data inside the share, so it should be reaching on the other side here. It's not showing that, but yeah, you can just try to play some more with it. Ideally, it would be Linux machine that we should be connecting to. So guys, this much is for today. I prepared the storage, and next week hopefully the network side I'll try to cover, and that would be the network topic with the last one. Then this 7-month-old course will be finished, brought to the logical conclusion. But overall, Oracle Cloud is kind of, if you have Oracle databases in your company, then go for that. Otherwise, just because it's cloud, don't go for that. Go for AWS, Azure, the best choices, and Google Cloud, yes, if you're a programmer, you need programming tools there. And if you have Oracle databases, then only come here. Even then, AWS, Azure still are better. Okay, guys, so this is it. If there are any questions, let me know. Otherwise, see you next Friday. If all, majority of the labs are there, I would really need some time for that. Yeah.
Thanks so
Thank
much.
you. All right. Thank you, guys. So, thank you. Take care. Good night. Bye-bye.